In today's video, we're going to continue our coverage on Deadpool and Wolverine, aka Deadpool 3. There's been some pretty interesting updates, news about apparent reshoot, theories, leaks going around. So in today's video, we're going to do a mega video in the sense of the length of the duration of the video, covering all sorts of stuff to do with Marvel and Deadpool and Wolverine. So if you're new around here, what the hell are you doing? Make sure to subscribe to never miss any of the Marvel, DC, Kaiju, Monsterverse, pop culture-based content that I try to cover personally on a daily basis. Could subscribe channel, turn notifications on, and let me know what are you most freaking excited for in this movie. Also, if you could become a channel member for less than 99p, less than $1, that helps keep the lights on at the Warstu headquarters, please. Also, follow us on Instagram at Warstu to see that beautiful face behind the beautiful voice. Also, check us out on Twitter, WarstuD. Right, let's get into this. So, according to Daniel RPK on Twitter, Deadpool and Wolverine is currently undergoing reshoots and will do through to May, but different kind of trades on Twitter are reporting things differently. The Hollywood Handle says this: Deadpool and Wolverine is reportedly currently going through reshoots and it should last until May. So what I find interesting is Marvel is infamously famous for changing movies in reshoots. They literally changed the ending of Ant-Man 3 with literally a week to go. They changed that. They pretty much rewrote and changed the whole of Doctor Strange 2, Multiverse of Madness. Is this going to be the case with this movie? I don't know. According to test screenings that happened, but when you got the director Sean Levy coming out and saying a test screener went well, that's basically PR being like, yo, we want this movie to do well, so let's just say it's doing well. So I've got no idea what's happening with these reshoots. Obviously, it doesn't look like the movie can't be locked. It's way too early to lock a movie. Doesn't come out to July. It's only April. So according to Cryptic HD on Twitter, he's quite reliable. He had this to say recently. So I'm hearing that some things have been put aside and aren't in the current cut of Deadpool and Wolverine. So far, they are very pleased with what they currently have and will be adding on in time. Currently, Deadpool and Wolverine sits just a bit over 2 hours. Other runtimes floating around are fake. He went on to say the film obviously is not locked yet. I should be given another update with the runtime in the next month or two, or yeah, he just basically said he's going to update the runtime at some point. So is this a bad thing? No, but I'm starting to see people are thinking this is going to be a multiverse of madness level cameo movie where you're going to get, you know, Tom Cruise, Iron Man, Superior Iron Man, and a bunch of, like, you know, Wesley Snipes blades. Apparently he's returning for a different movie, but not this movie. But you get my point. Apparently every single person under the sun is going to appear in this movie. And it's like I've always told you, that can't be the case. Like, it may happen if there is a post-credit scene. Potentially could happen there. But in the sense of this story, which is a Deadpool movie that happens to take place in a multiversal saga, unless it's some people from the Fox universe, like the Fantastic Four. Human Torch is allegedly in this movie, played by Chris Evans. Unless it's some of the X-Men from the other X-Men movie, like X-23, Daphne Keane, she's rumored to be in this movie, as well as like the hey kid, I'm no hero scene. Apparently that is X-23 or some random kid or kid pool. So what I find interesting is recently the director of the Deadpool and Wolverine movie came out and said the following. I don't know if I believe this, but I kind of do believe it. But you got to understand the context of the TVA being in the movie, Paradox and all this kind of stuff. You don't need to watch any previous Marvel films nor show to understand Deadpool and Wolverine, reveals Sean Levy. The movie is built for entertainment and with no obligation to come prepared with prior research. Now, do I believe that? I kind of do and kind of don't. The thing is, if there is some kind of post-credit scene and it got to connect to Kang's dynasty and stuff, that would appear much random. Would you know more about the movie and be able to, you know, dig into the Easter eggs and the references if you watch previous X-Men, previous Deadpool movies? Sure. Is there some connection with the Marvel movies? Sure, because the TVA is part of Loki Season 1, Loki Season 2. So yeah, it is essentially a Deadpool movie, but at the same time, you would be missing a lot of the references and stuff if you hadn't watched any of the previous stuff. Obviously, if you've seen the Fox timeline and the Fox movies, you'd know more about it, but if it's right what Sean Levy is saying, then you don't actually need to know anything about any Marvel movie to understand this movie, then damn, they've done a good job. So also in the news, friend of the channel, The Geeky Cast, who, in my opinion, is one of the more credible people. I don't necessarily think he's a scooper, but he receipt checks everybody. And he had this to say on Twitter. Apparently, Patrick Stewart Charles X will appear in Deadpool Wolverine. Now, it's highly rumored that there is a flashback sequence to how this version of Logan, and it's not the Logan from the Logan movie, it's a variant of him, how he failed the X-Men and how all the X-Men died. Now, I don't know this firsthand, but apparently Patrick Stewart, Professor X, will be seen in a flashback sequence. And does that make me think? I mean, some people think that Magneto is going to be in this movie. There was this huge rumor going around a long time ago that Magneto's helmet was going to appear in this movie. As we know, Cassandra Nova has abilities like her brother, Professor X. We don't know how much they're going to put onto that. So yeah, there will be a flashback sequence with a bunch of X-Men in it. Sure. Is that the scene that Professor X is going to be in? I don't know, but that, if I was a betting person, that does chronologically make the most sense. So my time to shine had this to say, and my time to shine is very hit and miss. But recently, that account, he, her, I don't know who runs it, if it's a guy or girl, they've been more accurate. So I don't know if this is hyperbolic or if this is, I call it rage bait on Twitter. They couldn't have Spider-Man in Deadpool and Wolverine because Sony wouldn't allow for something like that. Now, I don't believe that if this was actually the case. Now, we all know there was supposed to be the rumored pizza scene with Tobey Maguire Spider-Man, Hugh Jackman and Deadpool at the end of the movie eating pizza. That was a rumored post-credit scene for the longest time ever. Now, you can't really call it deleted because it can't be a deleted scene if it was never filmed. Now, it could be an idea. I mean, a lot of people have been talking about this scene for over 1 year. So is it true? We don't know. But would Sony allow Spider-Man to appear in this movie? Well, seeing as the relationship with Marvel Studios says it goes both ways, I'm sure if Marvel really wanted Spider-Man in this movie, they could 100% get him in this movie. So I don't know whether to believe this one or not. I mean, we do know that Marvel predominantly does 2 post-credit scenes, and usually the post-credit scenes are important. Now, if there is a post-credit scene for this movie, I assume it's going to be very important. My Time to Shine also said something about the post-credit scene for this movie being so mind-blowingly crazy, and then at the same time contradicting themselves by saying, yo, no one's going to find this out. No one knows what it is. But in the same tweet, you're also saying you know what it is. Oh my God, this is too good. I'm not going to ruin this. But the post-credit scene in Deadpool Wolverine is so mind-blowing. I've never seen a Marvel post-credit scene be mind-blowing so far. I can't believe they were able to pull this off without anyone knowing, yet the same person's tweeting it. So you're literally contradicting yourself by saying no one knows it because you've literally just said what it is by saying, yo, it's a mind-blowing scene. I mean, don't get me wrong, there's been some good post-credit scenes, but there's never been one that's like, oh my God kind of moment, in my opinion. So that's what My Time to Shine had to say. I mean, it would be cool if we could get a post-credit scene or an ending scene with a Spider-Man in it. Is that necessarily? No. But like I say, it's a multiversal storyline. It's got to push the story forward, go into Kang's Dynasty, which is still called Kang's Dynasty. It's on the official Disney release slate under that name. So as far as we know, and as far as anyone knows, it's still on the slate, which means it's actually real. So someone did see, I'm not going to take creditation for this because it's not my information, but there is an image in the trailer where it looks like it is Elektra. So I came across this on Twitter. Now it's coming from the retracted Scooper. Deadpool and Wolverine will reveal that X-23, Gambit, and Elektra are part of the Resistance group that fights off Casanova. Yeah, I get it. It's Cassandra Nova. You must be Nura and her Raiders. Now, this bit here is interesting because this alludes to the, the ending scene on the trailer when everyone thinks they're going to sling ring to another universe. Yet that's not technically how that works. So I don't believe they're going to end up in the MCU because I keep saying it's a multiversal saga. Deadpool 3 is a Fox movie. Sure, it's owned by Disney now. It's a Deadpool movie. So if you take the logic that it's just a Deadpool movie, why would they transfer over to the MCU? Because then you would need to understand the MCU stuff. So I'm starting to believe they ain't going to the MCU in this movie at all. Maybe when they go to look for the other Wolverines, because obviously in the trailer, Deadpool's like, yo, this happens with Wolverines over the age of 40, which implies he's seen other like Wolverines, and we know there's going to be multiple variants of a bunch of different Wolverines. Apparently there's even a Deadpool Wolverine, which would be sick. So it goes on to say, Cassandra Nova will have the same power set as Professor X, aside from using a sling ring and Magneto's helmet. Now, I can't confirm or verify where this came from, but they are sourcing Alex Perez from the Cosmic Circus. Alex Perez is the most reliable scooper, in my opinion. Why? Because he literally called the whole of Loki season 2, word for word with his little cryptic tweets way ahead of time. Cryptic HD quality. Yeah, okay, that guy knows his stuff. Can we get some toast? Okay, can we get some toast? Has got a lot more information right recently than they've got wrong. So if you watch the trailer and you can literally see a bunch of people fighting against a bunch of people, I believe this is going to be true. And if they are following the comic book logic of how Cassandra Nova's formed in the womb and they had a fight in the womb, it does make sense. So the sling ring thing, that does make sense because she's literally in the same scene. So, and the Magneto helmet part, that would make it basically OP in a roundabout way. So that would be interesting, but we can't, maybe if you, I've not done this, maybe if you zoom into the picture or the tray, it have to be picture. If you zoom into that frame, I can't actually see a sling ring on her finger, but maybe she does. So this resistance, potentially, if there is going to be, because, movies follow a first act, a second act, a third act. Potentially, if this fight, if the Resistance does fight off against Cassandra Nova and her Raiders, and the fact it says Deadpool Wolverine will reveal that X-23 Elektra are part of the Resistance group that fights off, that implies they're fighting together. So is this the third? Is this the final act? I don't know what it is actually, but it sounds interesting, and it's been out there. This tweet's going back to the 23rd of April. Which was 5 days ago. Yes, which obviously was after the second trailer came out, technically the first real trailer. So I do believe this theory about the Resistance fighting Cassandra Nova and her goons, and maybe that's the second or third act. Movies generally follow it, and it normally peaks with some major climatic fight in the third act. So, also in the news, now this is an old one, but we might as well go over it. In Deadpool 3, only Hulk versus Wolverine will be mentioned. We won't see the fight. That's an old one, but when I do these videos, I kind of go over all the rumors that are currently in front of me on the screen. Now, according to the internet, Taylor Swift is in this movie, but it's not what you think it is, actually. I was told it off record, so I'm obviously not going to say what it is if it's true, but it is pretty wild if what I heard is actually true. It's actually kind of obvious at the same time. So I have seen a lot of people taking Rob Liefeld's "he ain't lying to you" as confirming there's some wild post-credit scene. No, Rob Liefeld's just being hyperbolic and hyping up the movie that essentially he's behind the character. I get it. It is what it is. No one really knows what this post-credit scene is because no one's talking about it. I've not seen one single YouTube video. I've not seen anyone on Twitter talking about it publicly. So whatever this post-credit scene is, no one knows what it is. It would make sense if there was some post-credit scene setting up some variants of Battleworld and, recruiting some kind of team of Avengers from the multiverse. This is just me spitballing. Even if I put it on the title, I'm just spitballing here. It could be that. It might not be that. I don't know. So once or twice a week, depending on how much information comes out, I'm going to try and go over all the latest rumors and news for Deadpool and Wolverine. But you got to remember, all these cameos, it's got to make sense. It's got to be the Fox universe, either the Fantastic Four or X-Men, any variants. It's all got to line up. It's all got to make sense. They're not just going to randomly have Tom Cruise Iron Man or have some random character like Doctor Doom appear for no reason inside the void. Sure, they could. There could be some, wildfire like Kang the Conqueror could just randomly rock up halfway into the movie. That could be the case, but I don't think it's going to be the case. I think if there are going to be many major surprises and major reveals, I don't think they're going to get out, and they will most likely be secret and shot in secret during reshoots somewhere. But it is what it is. It is cool that we could be seeing Professor X in a flashback sequence, courtesy of the Geekcast. So like always, guys, check us out on Twitter, Warstu G. Check us out on Instagram, Warstu. And I'll catch you in another week, guys, very soon. Catch you later.